So welcome back, episode 4, GrandAm Strikes Back. Just kidding. This one's going to be HVAC issues. It is getting cold. As you see, the other car is gone. We put it away, so it's good for winter. And we're going to talk about heating and cooling issues while we're kind of there. And basically, we're going to keep it to the inside of the car. So basically the blower motor, if it's not working at all, or if it only works on certain speeds, what would cause that. The AC not blowing as cold or not cold at all. Flip side, if the heat's not blowing as hot as you think it should, or just not hot at all. And then we'll talk about if air's blowing from all the vents and if you can't change where it goes. So we'll cover all that. There'll be a little bit under the hood here. Not too much because there's going to be other videos that kind of tie into with this one. So I'll leave under the hood stuff for those videos. So this one will be mainly focusing on the inside. As far as fuses and relays, they're all under the hood. So everything from your HVAC blower to your AC compressor, everything's going to be found underneath the hood here. So on the inside here, if this HVAC unit is bad, whether it's something inside internally that the knobs aren't connecting to, if that's not doing what he's supposed to, or if you're taking it out to check the vacuums, it's real simple. 2 7mm screws, and it pops right out. So now we got those out, we can just pull it off. Not too big of a deal. Remember with the bezel, to take off the beauty ring around the key with a flat head, pop it out, and then for the actual bezel, reach up under here, kind of forcefully pull, that'll pop off, and then unhook your 3 things. And that's how you get that off, not a big deal. Look back at my hazard button video to see exactly how that happens. But here's your HVAC, not very big. As you can see, 2 electrical plugs, and then 2 vacuum ports basically to get that off. So you're going to want to take the 2 electrical plugs out. You're going to pop off the 3 tabs of this guy, and that'll slide right off. And then behind this guy, I'll take this out real quick. Behind this guy, if you look real close, there's like a rubber ring around like an arrowhead that holds this piece on. So when you're changing this, make sure you gently kind of pry that up around and make sure you don't break that, because that holds that on there. I took the radio out because I want to show you guys where the heater core and the scroll traps, blend door, whatever you want to call it. To get to those, you got to take the dash off, which there is an outer and an inner like skeleton of the dash. When I swapped everything over in my car, I just took the outer dash and left the skeleton in the car. And doing it that way, you definitely still can't get to the heater core or anything. You have to take that inner dash out, and I opted not to. So basically, you'll see some screws right there that are holding this plastic. That's the outer like dash that has like the covering on it. And then behind it, you kind of see the metal rails, and you see a box there. It's kind of hard to see, but there's screws on that box right behind that metal bar that gets you into the air box where your heater core is and your blend door. And I'm not going to dig into all of that, but I believe there's other videos out there. I can see if I can link some to help you guys out with that one. I haven't dove into that one in this kind of car yet. Something I almost forgot about this HVAC unit is these knobs. These knobs like to break on the inside under here, where there's like a D shape in there. That piece will just kind of snap off. I mean, they're cheap, kind of brittle, but you'll go to turn it and it'll just kind of float back and forth without any resistance. But yeah, it just pops off like that. You get new ones at the local parts store, pretty cheap, or you can order them online, and then you just pop new ones on. So with this vacuum line that controls the position where the air comes from, it comes through your harness, from down there through this guy up to the engine where this white line is, and it plugs right into your manifold. Now if that's cracked in any way between here and the HVAC unit, you know, you're going to have a vacuum leak, which the car should be running a little funny, and then you won't be able to select. Another thing is if someone happened to unplug this and just cap that vent, so your car is not going to run funny, but you're not going to have your vent selector. So that's what you're going to be looking for, is that white line there. And you can use some rubber hose and some clamps if you need to repair that. If it's missing that end, you know, clamp on some rubber ends wherever it's broken at, you know, whether it's here or back here, and then just run the rubber hose to the intake manifold. That's all that's for. So one of the most common things is your blower motor only working on certain speeds, or only 5, and that is a bad blower motor resistor, which is up under here. So I'll show you how to get that out, and while we're under there, I'll show you how to get the blower motor out, which is right next to it, because that could also go bad if you don't have anything at all. So first you need to get the cover down, which is 2 7mm bolts. One here, and this guy right here. You need to take this. You need to take this little guy off. There's side cutters here. There. So right there's your blower motor, and then right behind it against the firewall there, where the plug is the actual resistor. The bolts on both the motor and the resistor are a 5.5mm. It's pretty odd, but most standard sets will have it in there. Three bolt holes on it, and then your electrical plug right here, and that's a blower motor. Here's your resistor. Take down the connector, and then the same 2 5.5mm bolts there. And to get that back bolt, here's what I find to be the easiest. Get yourself an extension here, small extension, to the universal, and then your 5.5mm socket on the end there. All with a 1/4" ratchet. Here's what the resistor looks like. Just a circuit board. Something you'll find is you'll see like burn patterns on it. That's, you know, confirms that it is bad. But that's all it is. Typically somewhere between $15 and $30, and it's pretty common in these cars. It's all back together. Remember, don't forget your electrical plugs on the fan and the resistor. And something too with this bolt right here. Sometimes you gotta kind of get under the dash and look up into the final hole because it's very small. So it can be kind of difficult. Keep in mind it is kind of cramped under there, so things can get tight. But it is, maybe 20-30 minute job at best for either the motor or the resistor. So very briefly under here on the heat side, it's not as hot as you think it should be. There's a couple things under here to look for. I'll go into more detail on maybe how to fix them in another video, but I'm just going to explain what could be wrong for right now. So first things first is I would definitely check your coolant level. Low coolant will cause you not to have heat in there. Also, if you have a leak somewhere, so if you notice you dripping something underneath, whether that's a hose, for example, so you have your main hoses, your upper and your lower there, you've got your coolant bypass tube heading back to your heater core, you have 2 heater core hoses, any of those could be possibly leaking. This cap can fail. It's supposed to maintain 15 psi within your system. If that fails, you may sometimes notice it'll be shooting coolant out of here and boiling over. Could be a bad thermostat, which is down behind there. Not a bad fix. Again, I'll cover that in another video. We'll go ahead and change one of those and I'll show you what goes into doing that. And something else to think about too as far as your heater core. Bad one, usually you'll have a leak on the inside of the car. So another approach would be to unhook your hoses right here and stick a garden hose in there with some pressure behind it and reverse the flow. You're going to want to put the pressure through on this top one, because this top one will be the one that returns back across this bypass tube. So if you put pressure into that one, it'll reverse the flow and knock any blockages that could possibly be in there, cause you not to have heat. So just some things to think about as far as heating goes. Now as far as cooling, more than likely if you don't have a noise coming from your compressor, that may give a hint that it could be going bad or is bad, is the system is low. Down here, you see this blue cap right here. You'll take that off, and underneath there, you'll have a tool like this, and this will snap down on top of there. And this one actually has where it gives you a readout. It's really helpful. And carefully, you'll have this down there. You have your can attached to this. You'll need the vehicle running. So you'll be able to run your hose up over here. Kind of have to like shake the can as you're filling. So that would cause it not to be as cold as possible. Now with that being said, if it is low, AC systems are sealed, and if you are low, there's a leak somewhere. So if you have to fill it, I would suggest going through the measures of finding the leak and troubleshooting it. Everything as far as AC is down behind here, and then your condenser sits right in front of your radiator. So it's all kind of contained at this side of the car. And then your compressor sits just below your water pump. Give you a picture right there. And, that may go bad too. You can see the lines right there coming off of it.